Welcome to Smashterpieces, a casual walk through the history of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate roster. My name is Joe.
My name is Melanie.
And if you're new here, it doesn't matter because we're not doing what we usually do on this show. If you want to hear what we usually do on this show, go listen to another episode.
This is actually the best time to be new here.
It is actually a very good time to be new here. Hi, everybody. It's 2026. Despite my objections. And here we are. We've been doing this for a few years now where we do a wrap-up episode every year. Last year we did something a little bit differently because we didn't really have it used to be that we would like reflect on the games we had played for the show before in that year, but as our output has kind of slowed down, last year we borrowed in doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Borrowed an idea from the other podcast, much more successful podcast, Versus Wolves, where every year they do the best collection, where they talk about a list of their favorite things over the past year. And then it was way too long. So this year, we're going to do it a little bit differently. It's going to be in two parts. One is going to be honorable mentions, which last year was a large part of why everything went so fucking long. So this year, the way that's going to work is that we can both have as many honorable mentions as we like. You get 8 minutes. I'm literally going to start a timer, and when the timer goes off, you're done. So you can have as many as you want, but you have to fit them all in 8 minutes. And then after that, we're only going to do our top 5 things. And those, we can largely have as much time as we want to talk about them, but like there's only so long that I can talk about things. So yeah, hopefully that will result in a much shorter show. But we'll see. Anyways, hey, happy New Year, I guess.
Hi.
We're here somehow.
As I'm sure you can tell from how long it took me to edit the 2024 wrap-up. 2025 kind of sucked.
Yeah, it sure did. And I'm not gonna lie, 2026 ain't really off to a great start. But anyways, alright, which one of us wants to start with the honorable mentions? Do you want to start with your honorable mentions?
Sure, I can start. I don't have a lot, because, like I said, this year sucked.
Well, you have 8 minutes. Go.
Well, I'm going to be pretty quick about it. First of all, we got that new Kirby Air Riders video game. I really liked Kirby Air Ride growing up, and this is kind of like what if Kirby Air Ride was a finished video game in many ways. I love it. It's very fun. We got a new Superman movie. Superman was pretty good. James Gunn tended to make a lot of the best Marvel movies, and the Superman one, like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, if you've never really cared about Superman, this movie is kind of like actually really good at making you understand the point of him. And it's actually like very unambiguously about the Israel-Palestine conflict, so that was pretty neat. Nicholas Hoult gives an incredible performance as Lex Luthor. It's a pretty good movie. I liked it. It's a shame that Paramount's gonna go to shit. No, is Paramount? No, Paramount's already gone to shit. Warner Brothers is gonna go to shit.
Yeah, Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Paramount's who's gonna drag Warner Brothers into more shit.
Yeah, the entire movie industry is going to shit, unfortunately. Speaking of superheroes and movie industries, there's also the Marvel movie Thunderbolts this year. Which weirdly one of the best Marvel movies in a very long time.
Was that? Wait, what?
Which part is confusing you?
Was that this year?
Yes, that was this year.
I thought that was like 2 years ago. What the fuck?
Thunderbolts was this year. It was like May, I think.
What the fuck? That feels like so much longer ago. Jesus.
No. Well, this one's really good, and it's actually about something. This is a Marvel movie that made me cry. There's not a lot of those. This might be the only one, actually. It's really good, and it's all of these characters are going to be ruined in the upcoming Avengers movies. Because honestly, if I'm going to be real, I don't like the look of Avengers Doomsday. I don't like the direction that it seems to be going. And every Avengers movie, since the first one, has just been, what if we took all those arcs the characters were going through and made them worse? So I don't have a lot of high hopes for that. But this one is really good. It is one of those that like kind of wants you to have seen a lot of the television shows, but you don't have to. You can just watch this one by itself. It's fine. We also got, Joe, a game that you are playing now because I told you to, Rhythm Doctor.
Yes.
Rhythm Doctor is the closest the game has ever felt like Rhythm Heaven to me without just being a clone of Rhythm Heaven. It's like, I feel like there needs to be a difference in genre titles between rhythm games and music games, because music games kind of try to make you feel like you're playing the song yourself, and rhythm games are games that are testing your rhythm in itself. And this is one of the latter. This is a rhythm game, and it's fucking fantastic. It has the juice. It has so much sauce, and it's just fucking cool. And
I've hit a point where I'm starting to get gimmicks that are a little too much for my stupid brain, but otherwise it's pretty good.
Also got a ridiculously in-depth level editor that's built into the game. So that there are like so many good custom levels. And this one, it doesn't really fit the theme that we go for of like something that's recent, but it's technically recent in the exact version that I saw it, which was Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair. The theatrical release of Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 put together as the one movie that they were intended to be in the first place. And fun fact, I had never seen Kill Bill before seeing this. So this was my first time ever watching Kill Bill. And
I've never seen Kill Bill, but I'm not a big fan of Quentin Tarantino stuff, so...
Well, this is a hell of a way to see it for the first time. Arguably the way it was supposed to be. By which I mean literally the way it was supposed to be. And it turns out it's really good. It turns out that movie you've been hearing about for your entire life that everyone says is good, it was good. So, that was neat. And that's all my honorable mentions.
And now I'm going to go. Here we go. Also, don't feel too bad. One of my, on my 5 is like, came out in 2024, but I played it this year, so I'm counting it. Anyways, I'm hitting go. I actually, pretty much almost all of my stuff is games this year. I didn't really go see any movies. I went to see one movie, and it was Rental Family, which was pretty alright. It's a pretty alright movie. I really, really liked the plot around the kid. I think it was a very well done movie. I think Brendan Fraser does a very good job. It's pretty funny. It's very heartfelt, and I think it is nice. It's a movie about the rental friend industry in Japan, and it's kind of a thing over here too, but it's not nearly as big. And I had a good time with it. I really enjoyed it. But that's the only movie that I went to see all year. Ender Magnolia, Bloom in the Mist, barely did not make my 5 for reasons, even though it is my number 3 favorite game of the year, but I have reasons for it not being on the top 5, so don't worry about that. It's extremely good. It is the sequel to Ender Lily's Quietest of the Nights. I think it is a straight improvement in every way to Ender Lilies, and I think they knocked it out of the park. Also, you can have a cool scythe as your main weapon, and that's always a plus in any game that it happens in. Power Wash Simulator 2 is definitely Power Wash Simulator 2. It is exactly the game you expect it to be, and that's fine. I had a great time with it, and it killed a lot of time, and it is now, I think, my 3rd most played game on Steam already.
Very impressive.
A song that came out this year from Hololive called Odyssey. It is the only song to involve every single member of Hololive English. Like every single one with the exception of Tsukumo Sana. Because she's been gone for 3 years. But Amelia and Fauna and Mume are in this because it came out before they graduated. It's got lyrics by Callie, and it's just a very, very, very good song, and I highly, highly recommend it. And also, it is the last thing that Fauna sang before she left, so it gets me on that. A game called Dead Letter Department, which is a horror game about data entry, where literally the entire game is you look at, like, you transcribe letters and addresses and shit from letters that never made it to their destination, and they made a horror game about that. I have never typed so much in my life, and I have learned that I am not built to type that much, because my wrists like hurt like hell by the time I got to the end, but it was super worth it, and I think is a very overlooked game of the year, and I definitely do recommend it if you like typing and you really like creepy vibes. Wanderstop, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum there. Wanderstop is the chill game by the Stanley Parable guy about a fighter who shows up, who gets... It's a game about burnout. It's a game about creative burnout. She gets extremely tired and keeps losing, and so she goes into the woods to train with somebody, and she winds up working at a tea shop. And first of all, the owner of the tea shop, I would die for him. He's my favorite character in the game. It's just a very nice, simple game that has a lot to say, I think, which, as far as I'm aware, despite the fact that I've never played the Stanley Parable, that fits with that creator. Silent Hill F. Man, it has great narrative, and it looks great, and it sounds great, and the performance of all the characters is fucking great, and I hate playing it. I fucking hate playing it. And I'm gonna go back and get more endings, because they did recently add a casual difficulty, and maybe that will help, because my main problem is that the combat sucks, and a majority of the game is designed around the combat. And I kind of agree with Super Eye Patch Wolf that anybody that says the combat is clunky and exhausting and bad on purpose is huffing extreme amounts of copium. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And maybe it's true, I don't know, but I don't agree with it. I would like to go back to it now that it has that easier difficulty. That's the main thing that keeps me from putting it anywhere near my top 5. And lastly, I have found the second good harem manga ever to be written ever. And it is The Cafe Terrace and Its Goddesses. It's just a nice, good romance manga. It has a leg up on most other manga in the genre because of one specific thing, which is that the entire cast is adults, and that is definitely a plus.
I can see how that would help a lot.
Yeah, it sure does. And to be fair, the ending is incorrect, but I've yet to see one of these end correctly, so it's fine. And that is my list of honorable mentions. All right, I guess I'll start with my number 5, and we'll see how this goes. My number 5 is Once Upon a Katamari. Because we got a new Katamari game this year, everybody, and Katamari rules.
This has been on my want-to-play list for a little bit.
It's pretty good. I don't think it's as good as Katamari Damacy, but I don't think any Katamari game is ever going to be as good as Katamari Damacy, and that's fine. I've come.
You don't think We Love is as good?
So I'm kind of in the minority in that I like Katamari Damacy more than I like We Love, but We Love is still like extremely good. Like it's still an extremely good game. I just kind of like the original game better.
That's fair.
But this is definitely a very easy number 3, I think. Once Upon a Katamari manages to be a number 3. The first one in, I think, like 15 years. Like the last new Katamari game came out on the Vita.
And was this one made by the original guy? Because I know that the reason they sucked for so long is that he wasn't working on them.
No. because he left Bandai after We Love Katamari, and he has not been back. He did release a game this year called To a T, and unfortunately, that comes with some sad news in that To a T did not do financially very well, and he had to move back to Japan, and has said like he might have to leave game development. And has openly stated like, I would love to work on another Katamari game. And I personally think that if there's any justice in this world, Bandai will let him do that now that they have brought the series back.
Yeah.
But that's the main reason why I didn't like think that this game was going to be good when it came out, is because he was not involved.
And they've tried and failed so many times without him.
They have, including so I haven't played a lot of other Katamari games because I've heard they're just generally not great after the second one. I have played Katamari Forever, which was the PS3 game that was supposed to be like a greatest hits collection. And that game blows. That game is terrible. And I can't even explain why. It's just not very good. I think I've heard the 360 one is okay, but I've never played it. Beautiful Katamari. But Once Upon a Katamari is the first in over a decade. There's even a song on the soundtrack that's sung by a boys' choir, and you can hear in their voices that none of them were alive the last time a brand new Katamari game came out. Mm-hmm. And that kind of fucked me up a little bit. Just a tad. It's about once again the king of all cosmos does something stupid and destroys the earth, and in order to rebuild the earth you have to go back in time using your time machine to collect things from various historical eras of the earth. So there's like, you start in obviously like feudal Japan, and you go to places like ancient Egypt and Greece and the Wild West. And it's a lot of fun, and these really fun little set pieces that they get to do with different aesthetics than they've been able to do in the past. It's very, very satisfying to roll up a dinosaur. I'll be completely real with you. It's extremely satisfying to roll up a dinosaur. It introduces one of the best cousins, which is a cousin by the name of Clip Clop, who is actually two cousins in one of those tandem horse costumes.
I think I saw that one on Blue Sky today.
Yeah, he's so good. He's my favorite cousin. He's so good. There's also apparently a cousin somewhere in the game that's just a car, but I didn't find that one. And the soundtrack of this game is fucking phenomenal. It's like, there's a game further down my list that was almost my favorite soundtrack of the year. And if this game had not come out, it would have been like easily my favorite soundtrack of the year. But this game's soundtrack fucking kicks ass. There's a song on it by one of the girls from Idolmaster, and she fucking kills it. She's really, it's one of the best songs in the game. She absolutely fucking kills it. And I got to see hilariously Idolmaster fans getting upset because the Idolmaster game she is from has not come over here and probably never will.
Oh my god.
So to them, like, this is the closest that this Idolmaster character is ever going to get to coming over into America, which is fucking hilarious. I love it. But like, they brought back a bunch of Bandai seems to have understood the assignment when it comes to the music in this game, which is they told Yumiake, the music director of the Katamari series, here's a bag of money, do whatever the fuck you want. And it pays off. It's such a good soundtrack. And it feels really nice to play a good Katamari game again. Like, oh, I missed it. I missed it so much. One that wasn't a remake at the very least. And it also, I don't know, maybe this is just me getting like weirdly sentimental. It feels like this was a really good time for a new Katamari game to come out and be good, because of all of the bullshit around AI this year.
Mm-hmm.
In a world where AI makes video, like, is the thing that makes video games, a series like Katamari could never exist, because the original Katamari game was a game that came out and went out of its fucking way to be nothing like any of its peers at the time. There is still to this day no other game like a Katamari game. There are games that try to be like Katamari games, but none of them really pull it off. And you mentioned, when you were talking about Rhythm Doctor earlier, you mentioned like it feeling like the closest something's come to Rhythm Heaven without just being a straight ripoff of Rhythm Heaven. Katamari, I feel like, fits in the same mold, in that nobody else is making games like Katamari today.
Yeah.
And nobody can make games like Katamari. Katamari, in almost every way, is a completely unique series that is all to itself, and nothing else can really recreate it. And so I think it coming out in the year when we're having to put up with all this stupid AI slop bullshit in the games medium, I think is rather meaningful. And at least that meant a lot to me. And while it is probably, there are like 2 games on my honorable mentions that I would overall rank above it, I felt like I needed to make it part of my top 5, almost just for that. But also, man, Katamari is fucking good. Katamari is a good series, and I love Katamari so much. It means so much to me. Holy shit.
That is pretty good. It's like the rare win for like the niche franchise from a long fucking time ago.
I hope we get more, and I hope they continue to be good. They can't cost that much to make. In the grand scheme of things, Katamari games cannot cost that much to make.
What would you say?
Fair. But like, it's a lot of it is like asset reuse, I feel like.
True.
Granted, I do think they made a lot of like new assets for this one because of the time travel thing, and I do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. But I would not be surprised if there were also some reused assets from previous Katamari games, and nothing wrong with that. It still works.
Mm-hmm. Well, should we move on?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. So, I'm not gonna have anything especially that unique or underground in my top 5 because, like I said, 2025 sucked for me. And my number 5 is a video game that you already know. It's Clair Obscur Expedition 33. If you pay attention to video games, you already know this one. But it is the debut game from Sandfall Interactive, which is a kind of modern classic RPG in a way.
They have made no secret in that it is heavily inspired by like JRPGs, like
extremely so,
like Final Fantasy. Especially they at the Game Awards acceptance speech, they fucking name dropped Sakaguchi. Like, they are super into JRPGs.
So it's a really good one. I'm going to make the kind of the bold claim that it doesn't really reinvent the wheel in any meaningful way. There's really nothing in this game that you will have never seen before. But it is a really excellent entry into a kind of game that we don't get as much of lately, especially on kind of the mainstream scale like this. And it also has parrying, meaning it's really good. That's all it takes, just parrying. The parrying's really fun. It feels really good. I also really love the story. Story is really well written, except for like right at the very end, like literally in the last 5 minutes of the game, where they're like, but yeah, being disabled sure would be terrible, right? And I'm like, that's a weird thing to say out of pocket, out of nowhere, but okay. I would prefer you didn't say that. But besides that, like, I really loved this game. And I it's like a little frustrating the way that the discourse around it has gone, because it's like fucking like people are treating it as like the second coming of Jesus, and it's not that. It's a good ass game, and I don't think it's gonna like be life changing in any way unless you're one of those annoying people that talks about how like real like the video game industry needs to be for the real gamers that want everything to be super hard and cool and everything. I feel like those people are really latching on to this game in ways that are very frustrating, but it is genuine quality. And if you don't know the premise of it, it's set in not France. It's France, but it's not France. The city of Lumiere, which every year, off in the distance, there is the monolith, which has a number written on it. That every year, the paintress, who is this giant figure sleeping at the monolith, which is way off in the distance across the ocean, she wakes up and she erases the number and writes one number lower than that. And at that point, the gommage happens, which is everyone who is older than the number now written on the monolith simply vanishes. And
that explains something. I'll mention it after you're done.
Yes. So at the start of the game, the number is at 34. And in the game's prologue, we see it go down to 33. And so the game follows Expedition 33. Everyone who is now 33 years old in their final year of life before their gommage, who has chosen to leave the safety of Lumiere and go out into the world to try to accomplish anything, to learn anything about the world, to try and be able to defeat the paintress and stop the gommage, do anything of consequence. And no expedition has ever had a single survivor return. So you are a member of Expedition 33 setting out right after the gommage. And that is the premise of the game's plot. It's very depressing in the best way.
I'll get to it eventually. It's on my list. I'll get to it eventually.
Mm-hmm. People also argue which of the two possible endings is best, because they have no sense of media literacy and cannot handle something that doesn't have an unambiguously happy ending.
I do know that I've seen a lot of people talk about it, because the shitty part of the discourse I've seen is people trying to use it to like point to like JRPGs and be like, those are shit, aren't they? Man, I wish they were more like this. And the response to that being, brother, the people who made this game fucking love those games.
Yeah.
Like, they're not fucking shy about it. They fucking love those games. But you said the homage, and that suddenly makes a joke make sense from Super Eye Patch Wolf's charity stream this year. So this is a side path, but I need to go down it. Super Eye Patch Wolf did a charity stream where he said, all right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play Shenmue 3. And I'm going to raise money for Palestine. And during this thing, every £1,000 that was raised, he had to spin the punishment wheel. And the punishment wheel included things like costume upgrade, which caused John to have to walk off screen and add a new piece of a cosplay every time, which eventually turned into a Ryo cosplay, the main character from Shenmue. Mm-hmm. Or he had tell an embarrassing story, which he had a separate wheel for that. But the main one, the big one, was erase your save, which he originally had it set up to, it has to hit this 3 times. And then if it hits this 3 times, then I have to erase my save and start the game over. First time it happened was when Wooly was on, which was so fucking perfect. It was as Wooly was leaving. It's so fucking good. But it happened a second time later with a streamer I've never heard of. Her name was Frankie, where he had it set up the second time, which was now it has to land on here 7 times. And then I will have to erase my save and start over again. This was like 15 hours into the stream. And she saw that and said, I can do that. And over the course of like 45 minutes, surgically went after erasing this save file. And once it got down to 1, she was like, I'll tell you what, because at this point, John was wearing a shitty black wig for his real cosplay. And she said, I'll tell you what, if I have to make you erase your save, I will go put on a shitty wig in solidarity. And then it landed on guest choice.
Oh no.
And she got up and she left the room. And for like 5 full minutes, John was like, if she walks in wearing a wig, I'm going to cry. And she sat down with a bob wig and a beret, a red beret, obviously from an Expedition 33 cosplay. And John just started saying, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. I've been streaming for 15 hours. You don't have to do this. She said, I'm sorry, John. You have to gomage your save. At which point, for the second time in the stream, John had to erase his Shenmue save and start the game over. So now that makes sense to me.
It sounds like the final gamer did not have a plan.
He did not have a plan, and that stream did not go very well. He did not finish Shenmue 3. You will be surprised. And also they hit a stretch goal that made it so that he has to do it again next year. So, or I guess this year. So that's fun. That was a little tangent, but that's all I have to say about, Expedition 33. I have not personally played it yet, but I will get to it eventually. I've heard the soundtrack is extremely good. I haven't listened to it yet because I'd like to actually hear it in game.
It is extremely, extremely good. The soundtrack, like, oh my god. I just for that reason, like, this is a game that you specifically have to play.
Yeah, I tend to. This changed a little bit because of original sound chat, because I did cover a lot of games that I had not played on original sound chat. Generally, I prefer my first time hearing a soundtrack to be in the game itself.
Yeah, which makes sense. Well, that's about all I have to say. I think the discourse around the game is very stupid. I think the discourse around the ending is very stupid. Because like the game is not subtle about which choice is meant to be the correct one. And the alternate ending kind of exists to show you how bad of an idea that one would be. And it's wild to me that no one in the discourse is talking about how the end of the game says, yeah, living with a disability would be terrible, and like it would be better to die. Like, kind of wild that I've never seen one single person talk about that. But game's pretty good, so I would recommend it so that you can see how stupid the discourse is.
It's very fitting that your first thing would involve parrying, because so does my second thing. Because my number 4 came out in 2024, but I played it in 2025, and so I'm counting it. It's motherfucking 9 Souls.
Ooh, I've been meaning to play this one, but I have not got around to it.
This is the best Metroidvania I've ever played in my life.
Okay.
It's so fucking good. It is. And I imagine, since it didn't get brought up in your honorable mention, we'll be talking about a different Metroidvania later.
No, we will not.
Really interesting.
So I should say, real quick, Silk Song's fine. It's good. It is good.
I haven't finished it yet.
That's all I have to say. It definitely gets me thinking, do I actually like Metroidvania or do I just like Metroid?
So Nine Souls is a Metroidvania by the studio Red Candle. They are a studio out of Taiwan. They previously made the games Detention and Devotion, which are both horror games. Detention being one of the best horror games out there, like period. I think Detention is extremely good. Devotion is also pretty good. It got kind of fucked over by politics, unfortunately, famously. So Nine Souls, I was a little hesitant on it at first because when a studio that's made two banger horror games is like, yeah, we're going to make an action Metroidvania now. It's like, all right, I sure hope you stick the landing. And holy shit, do they stick the fucking landing? It is an action game where combat is very heavily built around parrying, to the point where it is a game that says, no, you will learn how to parry or you will fucking die. Those are your two options.
That sounds good to me.
And it's got this really fucking satisfying sound that plays when you pull off a successful parry. It like plays this gong sound and it's really fucking good. And I think it has like fantastic difficulty options too, because its difficulty option is you can turn up how much damage you do, but you cannot turn down how much damage you take. So even when you turn that up, yes, it means that when you do get your openings, they count more. But if the enemy's still hitting you with every attack, you're still going to fucking die just as fast. So fucking learn how to parry. Learn how to parry or die.
Admittedly, that doesn't seem like the kind of thing I would peg you as being into, a parry game.
I fucking loved the combat in this game. It did help that I was able to turn up the damage, which I did admittedly have to do for a couple of bosses because some of them do get pretty fucking hard. But its world building is fucking fantastic. You play as a character named Yi, who is at the beginning of the game is living in a village of humans. He is himself like a cat person, like an anthropomorphic cat.
Me too.
And he is living in this village of humans with this young boy, and they are going to do this big ritual that is basically, they're going to send the chosen humans to live with the souls who are the gods of this world. And Yi interrupts this ritual to reveal that this human village is actually a cattle farm. The people are cattle and are being like harvested to eat. And you're actually on a giant spaceship. And in order to do something, it's not clear at first, but it gets more clear as the story goes. Obviously, Yi has to gather the soul seals from the 8 souls, of which he is the 9th, who are basically the people that run this spaceship and run different parts of this sort of. It's basically the 8 souls control the different sectors of the operation on this ship, and it's revealed the purpose of this ship over the course of the game. And you have to go kick the shit out of the 8 other souls so you can get their soul seals so that Yi can do what he is planning to do. And I don't know, the characters in this game are very good. As the game goes on, you get flashbacks to Yi's time with his sister, and it's not really clear until the very end why she's not around anymore. And his like relationship with her and what has brought him to this point. And it's just really, really tight. The combat is extremely well done. Parrying feels so fucking good. The map is a lot of fun to explore, and it definitely has. There is a skill tree, but it's not really significant. It's really weird because there is, I think, one damage upgrade in the entire game, but you're not really looking to. The game doesn't want you to just make the number go up and do more damage unless you're using the difficulty settings, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, the game doesn't want you to do that. It wants you to learn how to fight.
I like the sound of that a lot.
So it's extremely good. It is, in my opinion, the best Metroidvania I've ever played. Red Candle is one of the best in the business, period. I'm so excited. It seems like their next game is probably going to go back into horror. So I'm very excited for that. And like, god damn, go play fucking Nine Souls, everybody. Everybody should go play Nine Souls.
Yeah, this is extremely something that's been on my radar for a long while. And I do really want to get around to it. I was not aware that it was like the people that made Detention and Devotion.
Yes. It is a huge departure from what they've made in the past.
I can tell.
There's also a reference to Detention somewhere in the game where the kid that Yi lives with gets a hold of a set of VR goggles and is looking through the games. Is like, Detention? That doesn't sound very fun. Which I found very funny. I liked that joke a lot.
Me next.
You next.
All right. My number 4 is a movie. Probably not a surprise if you know anything about me. But this is K-pop Demon Hunters. Yeah, the movie that you've already heard about. Just like I talked about the game that you've already heard about. Sorry, I'm a basic bitch. So K-pop Demon Hunters was the big Netflix movie of the year. It is made by the same studio as Spider-Verse. So if you remember Spider-Verse for being a particularly good animation movie, K-pop Demon Hunters is up there at the same quality, punching at the same weight and everything.
Represents one of the single biggest ball drops Sony has ever had in their entire fucking existence.
It has, but also like I'm definitely left wondering, like, would this have been as successful if it was released in theaters? Because the barrier to entry is much lower for Netflix, and that meant that the word of mouth was able to be explosive in a big way. And I don't know, I'm not so convinced that this is the same explosive success that way, because people just do not have that level of respect for animated movies and to really go out to the theater unless it's part of like a big franchise like Spider-Man. And I don't know. But it is genuinely that good. And I did, in fact, see it for the first time in theaters. They were doing like the sing-along thing in theaters. But like, thankfully, when I went to see it, like most people were not singing along. And I fucking love it. It's a movie for theater kids like me. It is about a group of K-pop stars in the group called Huntrix, which is Rumi, Zoe, and Mira. They are K-pop stars by day and demon hunters by night. And the idea is that they are the latest in a long line of trios of hunters who use the magic of music and song in order to protect the world from demons by strengthening a barrier called the Hanmoon, which keeps demons out of the human realm. But every now and then the Hanmoon weakens, demons get out, they have to fight them, and then they restore the power of the Hanmoon with their music. And the wrinkle in all of this is that Rumi, the leader of the group, she herself is half demon. Her father was a demon, and that means that she has the mark, the physical mark of being a demon on her that she is hiding from the people around her. No one else in the group knows, and she has deep anxieties about being discovered and being being forsaken or abandoned or hated because of this part of her that she's been hiding. So, it's also a queer metaphor on top of all that. So that Yeah, I'm a very basic bitch. Um, you've almost certainly heard some of the music because it's like charting on real ass radio stations. The song "Golden" was like #1 on Spotify for the entire year.
My niece apparently fucking loves the soundtrack of this movie. I don't know if she's even
Really
seen
good
it.
soundtrack.
I don't know if she's even seen the movie, but she, according to my sister, fucking loves the music.
It's a very good soundtrack. Very good movie. It's it's not especially like original story wise, I would say. Generational trauma, metaphor for a queer coming out story, all that kind of stuff. But animated movies of this caliber don't get made very often. Especially like with music this good, we don't get very good musicals very often. So this is just so exactly my shit, and I'm self-aware enough to know that it's by no means one of like the best thing that I saw all year, but I think it was the one that was like personally my favorite, even though I know very well it wasn't the best. So it's, you know, you've definitely heard of it, and yeah, I think it is worth the hype. So no, that's K-pop Demon Hunters.
I've literally had a tab open with the movie ready to watch open for, and this is not a joke, 2 months.
You can get around to that then.
Eventually, one day, I'll hit play on the video that's been sitting open on my computer for 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, I put it off long enough to be able to see it in theaters. So,
but there were multiple times where I was like, this is probably going to be on Melanie's list. I should probably watch it before the episode. And I just didn't. Just, you know.
Well, you were right.
My number 3 is not something that anybody here listening would have heard of, but you should have. It is the only non-video game on my top 5. It is a series of video essays. Last year, in my honorable mentions, I mentioned a man by the name of John Boas.
Now,
John Boas writes for a website called Secret Base, formerly SB Nation. And it's largely a sports site, but not fully, because John does plenty of stuff that has nothing to fucking do with sports. And this is one of the things that has nothing to do with sports. I brought him up last year because he had brought back his series Pretty Good, which is, in my opinion, one of the best video essay series on the internet, because John Boas is just so fucking good at storytelling that even when he talks about sports, and I'm somebody that does not give a shit about sports in any way, he manages to make it interesting. And I really like watching his videos about sports because he's just very charismatic, and he's very funny, and he's very clever, and he's very good at making it entertaining. This year he had like multiple episodes of Pretty Good. He did unfortunately have a 2-parter about a football player that the week after the second part went on YouTube, that football player got accused of domestic violence, and he immediately had to pull those episodes down and be like, well, yeah, it doesn't really feel right keeping those up now, huh? Which is unfortunate. And good on him for doing that. That was the correct decision. He has had episode where he does a thought experiment that leads to him buying spending $4 million on mattresses. That is really, really good. It's the whole idea of it is that he bought a mattress, and then the mattress company that he bought it from kept emailing him with offers to buy a new mattress. And he was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. I just bought a mattress. You know how long mattresses last, right? Like, you know. And so he did a thought experiment where he was like, what if I bought this mattress every single time they emailed me? And it gets to the point where he's like having to rent out like 8 other apartments just to store mattresses in. It gets really wild.
I feel like Jean Boas is a professional shit poster.
He is the most professional shit poster I've ever seen in my life. But at the end of this year, he released a 4-part documentary series called Full Time. And Full Time is the best thing that John Boas has ever made.
That's a bold claim.
Full Time is a series of documentaries about the Atlantic Telegraph Company. Where the first episode is about the invention of the telegraph and the creation of Morse code. The second one is about the creation of the different telegraph networks in both North America and Europe, and the planning going into what if we strung a telegraph line between Ireland and Newfoundland in Canada. And then episode 3 is about trying to string that telegraph wire between Ireland and Newfoundland in Canada. And then episode 4 is about the dumbest man to ever exist in life. And
that's a contested crown.
This man actively might have put human progress back like a decade by himself. It's insane. And this is all done through the lens of John lays out 2 archetypes for the people of this story. There is an Al and there is a Tim. And these are from the
oh my god
90s sitcom Tool or Home Improvement, where
it's okay. Everyone I've ever spoken to also thinks it's called Tool Time.
That's the show within the show.
Yeah,
but like, so he goes on this thing about the archetype of like there are 3 pairs of people in this story. There's 3 Als and there's 3 Tims, and Als are very like competent and very good at their job. They're not like big into machismo, and they actually like help put forward human like progress. And then there's the Tims who ruin fucking everything. With like the very first Al and Tim being Samuel F. B. Morse, who is the first Tim, the quote unquote creator of Morse code. And then the person who probably actually created Morse code, Alfred Vail. And that's just where it starts. It is such a good series of 4 videos about like he is such a good fucking storyteller, and he constantly like brings up, he'll go back and forth and like he'll bring up a thing about Home Improvement that is kind of an analog to what is happening in the story at that point. He calls Samuel F.B. Morse, he puts him in what he calls the crybaby white supremacist racist zone, which is good. Samuel F.B. Morse was apparently like a really shitty person, like an unbelievably shitty person who thought slavery was fucking rad. And he thought the telegraph would like keep slavery in place. And then slavery, actually one of the reasons why the North won the Civil War is because they had a telegraph network and the South didn't. Like, oops.
Nice job, idiot.
Nice job, you fucking dumbass. It involves a man whose actual name is Wildman Whitehouse. Like his first name is Wildman, all one word. That's his not a nickname. That's his real given name.
Okay.
It is just such a good, well done fucking series of videos. If you've ever seen anything that John Boas has ever made, this is him running on all cylinders about something that is actually genuinely like really, really interesting, and events that genuinely led to the thing that is letting me talk to you right now over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is generally the origin story of what would become the internet.
That's fucking wild.
And he just does such a good job of being a storyteller on this, and his graphical work is still fucking fantastic. And oh my God, that dude in episode 4 is literally the stupidest man that's ever existed in history. Holy fucking shit. He's the most Tim the Tool Man I've ever fucking seen of a historical. The thing about that archetype that he sets up, it works so fucking well. It's so weird. The first episode, he even goes into detail about, like, he explains a little bit about home improvement. He explains as much as you need to know about home improvement. You don't need to have like a real knowledge of it. He'll help you along as it goes. But I didn't know this. Home Improvement's not even syndicated on TV anymore. Like, they don't even play episodes. They don't even play episodes of it on TV anymore. And it was very funny to, like, if you have never seen Home Improvement, it was Tim Allen's big sitcom. It's like the third most famous thing that Tim Allen has ever done, behind fucking the Santa Claus and voicing Buzz Lightyear. And, like, the fact that it's just sort of disappeared is hilarious. Yeah, it's just such a good, I don't know how to do it justice. If you have any interest in the history of, like, communication in anything, really, again, this man can make me care about sports stories. He does such a good job. Full Time. There's 4 parts. Each part is roughly like 45 minutes to an hour long. Absolutely fucking worth it. This was a good year for video essayists to put out their best work. A side shout out to Defunct Land and his Living Characters video, which is by far also his best work. But yeah, this was my favorite video essay of any kind to come out this year. It's so fucking good.
John Boas is always usually very good. I have not gotten into his more recent stuff just because, like, there was that long period of time where it was all Patreon stuff, and once it started to go public, I just didn't realize, and now haven't found the time.
It's all very good. The mattress one is a lot. It's a lot.
Hey, my number 3. Gonna be, I don't know that I'm gonna have that much to really say about it. It's Hades 2. Joe, I can't remember if you've played this one. I know you played the first Hades.
Surprisingly, I have not gotten around to it yet, which is wild because I fucking love Supergiant games.
It may surprise you to know that this one's good.
That's what I hear.
They even made the ending good, which it wasn't at launch.
That's also what I hear.
It was pretty bad at launch, but they changed it. It's a thing of, like, the ending as it is now is not quite the ending that I wanted, but I think it's good. The ending as it was at launch was actively bad. like I think, honestly, kind of a betrayal to the characters, and maybe a little yikes in terms of, like, a character, like the main character, being allowed to have agency. But they, like, fully rewrote it, and even, like, if you did finish the game before they changed it, they also gave you the option to reset the main story progression without resetting anything else, so that you can go back and see all that again in the new version. Hades 2 is really good, and it really is just Hades but more, and with a storyline, like a story conceit that is a little frighteningly relevant to our current day, although still in the end it still keeps in the themes of, like, like family and finding ways to, like, end generational trauma kind of thing that the first game did. And it's really good. All of the there's really nothing that I can think of to say, because it is just Hades but more. But it's good, and I liked it, and I had a lot of fun with it, and Malinois rules. I think I kind of like Malinois more as a protagonist than Zagreus. Zagreus is very sarcastic and biting in his humor at times, and Malinois is more earnest. And there's definitely plenty of humor that comes from her, but it's more in ways of like her being genuine in situations that are like kind of weird or unusual, and she's overall more purpose driven than Zagreus, I would say, and I like that a lot. It resonated with me more. I've been playing this since day one of early access, and it's never gotten stale. I think they kind of knocked it out of the park, so I would recommend it.
I imagine that this is the first time they've ever done a sequel to any of their games ever. Like Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, none of those had sequels. So I imagine they only would have done that if they really did have a good idea for it. Because they've kind of already shown that even if a game is like a runaway hit, they don't really feel the need to do a sequel to it. Like Bastion and Transistor were both big hits, like really big hits. Bastion was a huge hit. Bastion is the reason they have all the money they fucking have now. Well, now it's Hades, but before that, it was Bastion. So I plan to get to it eventually, much like fucking everything. So far, everything on your list is things that I'm like, yeah, it's on the list. It's been installed on the Steam Deck for like a year. Oh boy. My number 2, we're back into video games. This was actually originally my number 3, and Full Time was my number 2. And then I had a conversation with a friend about this game literally right before we recorded, because he had just finished it. It's motherfucking Chrono Gear Warden of Time. Chrono Gear Warden of Time is a HoloLive game made by the people who made Freedom Planet. So it's like an actual studio that has made games before. HoloLive has a games label called Holo Indie, which, first of all, fucking shout outs to that. That's fucking rad that they made a label that fans can like apply to release their game to be a paid game, and they can make money off of their game. And Holo Indie will essentially publish it. But most of the games that have come out on that label have kind of just been like, what if we took the current big streamer game and we put a HoloLive skin on it? And it's like, then I don't care. I think that a lot of the games that come out through Holo Indie just don't look very good. This is the best fucking game based on any HoloLive anything that's come out ever. And I need you to remember how much I like HoloCure.
Yeah.
This game fucking blows HoloCure out of the goddamn water. It is genuinely like, it is my number 2 game of the year. And even outside of being a HoloLive game, it's just a really fucking good game. Like
I was about to ask, like, how necessary is the HoloLive connection?
So I think they do a very good. So I guess the premise of the game is that you play as Orochrony, who in her lore is the guardian of time, essentially. She is part of a group called the Council, who are basically 5 representatives of the parts that make up the world. So there's space, chaos, civilization, nature, and time, and Crony is time. And a character from one of the Japanese branches named Laplace has done something that has caused the world to break into basically 5 pieces that are separated into their separate, the council members' different like domains. and you play as Crony going through this 2D platformer, trying to collect the golden gears so that you can rebuild this thing called a chrono gear that will allow you to stop the decay of timelines and put everything back the way it was. And first of all, I don't think that you need to know a ton about Hololive to enjoy this game, like, at all. There are definitely, in the writing, there is definitely like references and in jokes, but I think it does a very important thing for a game like this, which is they're not load bearing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to know every in joke in the Crony fandom to be able to understand what's going on. And also, it's one of those games where it has like a codex where when a character shows up, you can go read like 3 or 4 sentences to tell you who this person is. And that's all the information you need to know.
And I would definitely say, like, HoloCure, for example, it is kind of load bearing to know them in advance. Like, it's a good video game for sure, but there's so little about the aesthetic that you can grasp if you're not already into it.
Mm-hmm. And there's definitely like, there's more you'll have more appreciation if you know who these characters are going in, but it feels less like a game that was made starring a bunch of streamers and more like a game like, oh, there's like a game before this that you didn't play, but it's fine because the plot from that game doesn't like really tie in super hard. If that makes sense, that's the best way I can think to explain it. I think that I did not go into this game expecting to fucking feel things, but holy shit, some of the places the story goes are like genuinely really good and genuinely fucking heartbreaking. I don't have any emotional connection whatsoever to Laplace or the people in her like generation because they're in Holo JP and there's a language barrier there, so I don't really watch them. This game made me fucking care about Laplace. Like, a lot. It's really, really good. Its gameplay is like extremely solid. It is very clear that these people have made platformers before. There are levels that are just like linear platformers. There are levels that are more kind of pseudo Metroid style where you have to explore the level and find stuff. There are levels that are very clearly like, oh yeah, the people who made this game are fans of blank game. Me and our friend Zero were just talking about it and like unprompted, he was like, yeah, I really liked that level that was just a Sonic Adventure 2 level. And I was like, oh good, that's the game that came to mind for me too. Like, I knew exactly what fucking level he was talking about just from that description. I mentioned earlier that there was a game on my list that would have been my favorite soundtrack of the year if Katamari had not come out. This is that game. The soundtrack of this game is phenomenal. And much like how I feel like the writing definitely works, it's also a really good mix of arrangements of Hololive music, but then also like completely original shit. And some of the original shit is like some of the best music in the game. There are like only a few parts where like vocals come in, and one of them might be like one of the biggest pop-offs I've had of any game in 2025 easily. It is such a cool fucking moment. And not because it's like, oh, I understood that reference, but because like, oh, the thing happening on screen is so fucking cool, and now the vocals kick in. Jesus Christ, fuck yes. The final boss fight is the most anime shonen bullshit I've ever experienced in a game. Zero and I were talking about it, and Zero was like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the final boss fight of Kingdom Hearts 2. And I was like, shit, yeah, no, that is like accurate. It's the final fight with Xemnas. It's so good. There's a point where the soundtrack is so good that it gave me a new appreciation for a song that I don't really like that much. Takanashi Kiara's first song, Hinotori, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like it very much. I like Kiara's later stuff like a lot better. when she started dipping more into like K-pop as her big like inspiration. There is a level in this game where a rearrangement of Hinotori plays, and the emotional context of what is going on in that level made me like the song.
Okay.
It's just generally like extremely good. The writers apparently did like a phenomenal job writing all of the characters. One of the things that I appreciate about it is it doesn't go out of its way to shoehorn in every single member of Hololive. Members of Hololive show up if it makes sense for them to show up. There are a couple characters who there are characters from the JP side that show up when it makes sense for them to show up specifically. Every member of English shows up except for only if you count the first two generations, because this game entered development before Advent or Justice existed. So there are like references to Advent and Justice in like background elements, but that's the closest you get to them ever showing up. But every member of Myth shows up, and every member of Promise shows up. And it is kind of a bit of a bummer that the game is largely based around the council, and 50% of the council is now no longer in Hololive. That is kind of a bummer. Like, Sana has been gone for like 3 years at this point, and then both Fauna and Mume left in like early 2025. And so that part does kind of become a slight bit of a bummer. I just went off on a tangent when I was talking about how the characters are like written really well, to the point where I was watching Bae play Chrono Gear, and there were scenes where she would show up and like Crony or another character would say something, and Bae, like while streaming, would respond to it and then hit the button, and then Bae in game would say the same thing.
Oh, that's really good.
And like they fucking nailed it. They nailed it. Yeah, it's genuinely one of the best games I played this year. Even if you don't really care about Hololive, if you like 2D platformers, this is a fucking game to check out. I think, unfortunately, the fact that it is a Hololive game means that this game did not get nearly the amount of flowers that it fucking deserved. Because it is a real labor of love. You can really feel that these people fucking love like the whole world that they created for this game. And they are really big fans of the people that are in this game and everything. You can feel it. It's fucking palpable. And if there was any justice in this world, Cover would be paying them to make another game, because it is by far the best game that this label has come out with. Like, it's not even fucking close. This is the first Hololive game that I've paid money to play. I would pay more money. I almost bought it for our friend to make him fucking, I almost bought it for Alex to make him stream it with me. And I will probably do that at some point. It's worth it. It's super good. If you like 2D platformers, this is absolutely a game you should give a shot, I think, even if you don't really care about Hololive.
So, my number 2 is a movie. My number 1 is also a movie. I'm done talking about video games. So, number 2 is Wake Up Dead Man. It's the latest Knives Out movie. Joe, have you seen the Knives Out movies?
I've seen Knives Out. That's the only one I've seen.
Glass Onion was divisive. A lot of people didn't like it as much. This one's kind of a return to form. The second one kind of made Blanc the main character in a way that he wasn't in the first movie, and so this one's more the traditional, like he's the supporting character, detective, and solving the mystery, but the movie's not really about him. So Wake Up Dead Man did you know that Rian Johnson has a lot of religious trauma?
I could see that.
Yeah. So he made this movie about it.
And he put it in the place where the Never Gonna Give You Up music video was filmed.
Only one scene.
Yeah, but that's enough.
And it's also not where most of the movie takes place.
I do like that he responded to that with, yeah, no, that's true. And I was the only one on set who was excited about it.
Amazing. Okay, but so the it's a murder mystery. So I can't really get too much into the details without giving away a lot of the mystery itself, but it takes place at a church where the pastor, who is kind of an asshole, who is like turning the church into his own personal little cult, is murdered in the middle of his sermon. And it's something of a locked room mystery, because he goes off into this little side room where like it's just this, basically a closet, where he sits off to the side and drinks from his flask of whiskey in the middle of the sermon, and like there is the sound of like him falling to the ground, and they look over and he has been stabbed to death, right, like in effectively full view of everyone, in a way that is impossible. And so Wake Up Dead Man, in addition to like being as good of a mystery as the Knives Out movies always are, is examining a lot about the role of religion in lives, and how like Rian Johnson was raised Christian and it identifies as atheist now. But this movie is him taking the opportunity to explore, like, you know, this system that he grew up in, that he does not have a lot of fond feelings for. What value can it and does it have to people, despite the problems that it causes? What is there to respect and value in religion? And that is a big thesis of the movie, in like the genuine virtues that can come to people in the sense of community and purpose that is given by religion, while also being honest about how flimsy and manipulatable it all is. Like it's directly confronting religion as a form of control, as much as it is religion as a form of charity. And making sure to have those two ideas meet each other, and openly acknowledge that it is not exclusively either of those things. It is both of those things, and it's like, it is a movie that I walked away like having kind of a more positive feeling towards religion, because of, while still being very certain that I do not believe in any religion of humanity. And it's got everything that Rian Johnson's got. This is another one where it's like, it's a big Netflix movie this year. I was lucky enough to see it in theaters. I had to drive an hour out of my way to do it. And I'm very thankful that I did, because Rian Johnson is an incredible director. I think maybe one of the better directors that we have working right now. And if you don't agree, then Last Jedi was almost a decade ago. Get over it.
Never. I'll never get over it on the internet.
So Wake Up Dead Man, extremely, extremely good. It's on Netflix, so you can just go and watch it. And this is the last one that Netflix like already had contractually nailed down from him. I hope they don't get another one. I hope that he is free to like give these the proper theatrical releases that they deserve.
Not if theaters are dead, motherfucker.
God. If anyone's unsure, the death of theaters, if you like movies, the death of movie theaters would be a very bad thing. I don't care how much you personally don't enjoy going. The death of movie theaters is bad for movies.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's Wake Up Dead Man.
Well, you might be done talking about video games, but I'm not, because I'm a single faceted human being, and I only have one thing in my life. And my number one game of the year is a game called Promise Mascot Agency. Promise Mascot Agency is the second game from the developers who previously made a game called Paradise Killer. And Paradise Killer was an investigation game that was basically a game that asked, what if the investigation segment of a Danganronpa game was the entire game? On a giant open world. And it does work rather well, honestly, because it has a very open-ended thing where in Paradise Killer, as you can gather as much evidence as you feel you need, and you can start the trial whenever the fuck you want. Promise Mascot Agency is nothing like that. It's not like Paradise Killer at all. In Promise Mascot Agency, you play as a Yakuza named the Janitor. That is his nickname. I forget his real name. Fuck. I'm sorry. I don't remember names very well. But he is known as the Janitor. He is voiced by Kiryu. He is basically Kiryu. Almost exactly. They knew exactly what they were doing when they got Kiryu's voice actor to voice him. He's basically Kiryu.
Mm-hmm.
And the game opens with him accidentally botching a money exchange and getting a bunch of money stolen, which leads to him having to fake his death and move out to a town in the Japanese rural countryside called Kasomachi, where it is said that there is a curse that kills Yakuza men if they try to live there. It eats them away from inside and kills them because of a mine disaster that happened that has largely been laid at the Yakuza's feet at that point. And his job is he has to revive and run a mascot agency in this town and earn enough money to pay back all the money that was stolen from them and fight off the bigger family that is threatening to kill the matriarch of his family. Here's the twist about the mascot agency. In this world, mascots are not people in mascot costumes. They are just beings who are like that. That's just what they're like. And some of them have like sort of magical powers, but not really. And your sidekick throughout the game is a mascot by the name of Pinky. And she is a severed Pinky.
Oh my god.
Who is fucking great, by the way. She's one of the best characters in any game I've played so far this like in the past few years. She is very, very like confident in herself. When she meets the janitor, she like one of the first things she says is like, "Oh man, dude, can we like kill somebody and go bury their body in the woods? I feel like that'd be a really good bonding experience." And it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, kid. Me and you are going to go far. We're going to go places. And alongside Pinky, you have to help bring this mascot agency back from the brink. And in the span of doing that, revive this rural town of Kasomachi that has like had a real fucking rough go of it over the last like 15 years, largely due to their mayor being a huge corrupt embezzling piece of shit, who basically has stolen any wealth from anybody that lives there. And you help the different people that live in this town with their various problems. One of them is like a teacher who actually moved here from America. And she teaches in the elementary school, and she is suffering from the fact that like economic troubles have caused a lot of her students to be like super delinquents because they don't really see a fucking point in going to school. And she's really trying her best. And her side quest involves you going around and picking up, like, one of her students apparently stole a bunch of her anime Blu-rays and like scattered them around the town. The main gameplay is driving around town in an indestructible K truck. If you don't know what a K truck is, it's a Japanese pickup truck. You would see it if you just Google K truck. You've seen one before.
I did not know it by name, but yes, I have seen that.
You drive in the janitor's K truck. It is completely indestructible. It can fall off a cliff and just be fine. Eventually, you are able to mod it with a boost and a glider and the ability to make it aquatic. And it's fucking great. You collect a bunch of mascots who are a bunch of like real weirdo losers. It's got a very big theme of like bringing together a crew of like the fucking biggest weirdo losers on the planet and having them like fucking really improve their lives and the lives around of the people around them. And it's got this really weirdly hopeful feeling to it in general, to the point where it actually made me emotional multiple times when things like weren't actually happening. All of the mascots you recruit are fucking top-notch designs. The very first one you get is one by the name of Tofu. He's a giant block of tofu who can't stop crying. And I feel that in my soul. And he's wonderful. And you send mascots out to do jobs like to a promotion event for the local bookstore or something like that. And then something will happen during that, at which point you will have to tune into a live stream and you will have to use the secondary gameplay, which is a sort of card game involving mascot superheroes that are basically like people that are on retainer to help mascots when they get in trouble, and you collect different cards by helping the people in town. And basically, like, one of the very first ones you get is the mascot versus a normal sized door, in which they try to walk through a door and they're too big to get through that door and they are now stuck. And you have to use your mascot superhero's powers to break the door frame so that they can get out and complete their mascot job successfully. It has so much heart to it. It has so much whimsy. It has so much charm. I was kind of lukewarm on Paradise Killer. I think it's fine. I think it's a fine game. This was by far my game of the year. It definitely made the most impact on me in general. And I think also just a game with this much fucking optimism and hope for people that have been given a really rough, like, lot in life, really fucking hit home and is a type of narrative that I needed and you might need too. I would super heavily recommend Promise Mascot Agency. It's well written. It's one of the funniest games I played this year, easily. And it's just a really good time. I just heavily, fully recommend it.
I mean this in the kindest way. That sounds like an eclectic mess.
It works though. Like, it all comes together and works really, really well.
Yeah, I mean it as like a compliment, I think. Like,
I think it came out on the same day. Oh, it came out on the same day as Blueprints, so it got fucking buried. So
that would do it.
I don't think it got as much attention as it deserves. At least I think it came out on the same day as Blueprints. I'm pretty sure. It definitely deserved way more attention than it got. And the people that I did see who played it pretty much universally were like, yeah, this is one of the best games I played this year. And I agree with them.
Mm-hmm. It sounds wild. Like, I don't even know how to like have a coherent thought about it. There was so much going on in everything you just said.
It's great. I love it. It also like very heavily aims for the aesthetic of a PS2 game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels extremely PS2 to the point where when I look at like the cutscenes and how the 3D models look when they're in the world, the closest comparison I can think of is they look like the 3D models in Persona 4. Like I feel like that was very heavily a visual inspiration for this game. I think they fucking nail it. It's really, really good.
All right. So then I guess that brings us to my number one. As I said, it is a movie. And that movie is Sinners. Joe, have you seen Sinners?
I have not. I only saw one movie this year.
Right, you did mention that. Okay. Well, first of all, I will say I walked into Sinners not knowing the premise of it. And that is a wild way to experience that movie. If anyone listening happens to not know what Sinners is about, I strongly recommend you turn this podcast off now and go watch it without knowing what it's about, because that is a fucking wild way to watch it. So, Sinners is the latest movie from Ryan Coogler, the director of Black Panther. And it stars Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan playing twin brothers.
I didn't know that part, actually.
It's so good. And there's an interview after this movie where Michael B. Jordan was just like, yeah, from now on, I always want to be two guys.
Michael B. Jordan really seems like just a generally really cool dude.
He is, and he does phenomenal in this.
He's the only good part of Space Jam 2. His one singular moment in Space Jam 2 is the only good part of that movie.
Mm-hmm. So, Michael B. Jordan plays twin brothers Smoke and Stack. This is kind of, I can't remember if this is Prohibition era or like very shortly before or after that. 1932, it says. So 1932.
That would be during Prohibition, yes.
Yes. So Smoke and Stack, they are two kind of, I don't want to call them entrepreneurs necessarily because they're a little like shadier, do some more dirty deeds kind of dealing stuff. They're returning to their hometown in Mississippi after spending a few years up in the big city of Chicago. And they are trying to open up a juke joint, which is like kind of like the black culture 1930s equivalent of a nightclub kind of thing for the local community. And it's them kind of coming back to their roots and doing something to like build something up for the black community in their hometown. And along the movie spends a lot of time with them like gathering everything that they need to open the place, recruiting people to work for them. Along the way, they also recruit the movie's kind of other main character, Sammy, who is a musician who his father is the pastor at the local church, and his father keeps disapproving of him like being a musician and keeps saying that like if you keep going to dance with the devil's going to follow you home. And Sammy kind of just wants to keep making music, so he joins in with Smoke and Stack in as they're opening up this juke joint. And this is also a horror movie with vampires.
That part.
Yes. So, hey, remember how I said K-pop Demon Hunters was about like the magical power of music? Sinners is kind of also that. Because the movie opens telling about how in different cultures there have always been people who have been able to use the magical power of music to sort of revive the dead in some spiritual manner, not necessarily literally revive them, but sort of bring them back into the plane of the living to be with us for a short time. And that ends up being, I'm going to go like a little bit into what you might call spoilers, because this is one of the things that makes the movie so interesting. That ends up being the motivation that the main villain, a vampire named Remick, uses in order to try and get his hands on Sammy and use his power of music to let him see his ancestors and his family. And the reason that this is so interesting is that Remick is Irish, and there is a lot of parallels in the stories of African Americans in the 1930s and someone from colonial Ireland.
Well, and also the Irish were also heavily prejudiced against in America when they first started coming over here as well.
Yep. And in addition to this, obviously, the kinds of music made that came from Black culture of the time is hugely important to this movie. The movie also takes the time to have a lot of Irish folk music with the vampires, and those are both presented as being very, very, very big parallels to each other. How both of these communities that had been oppressed and wronged used the power of folk music to kind of deal with the trauma of their oppression. And one of the particular Irish folk songs, Rocky Road to Dublin, that is in the movie, is about about an Irish man leaving Ireland to find a better life in the United Kingdom, in England, and ends up just being met with horrific oppression, racism the entire way. And so this movie is you bringing parallels between these two cultures and showing how they have this common enemy of the oppressor class. And even as the vampires are nominally the main villain of the movie, it being a supernatural horror movie, the greater scope villain is the sort of institutionalized racism of white people at the time, who are running the show. I'm sure I don't need to tell people about how white people were racist towards black people. Nowadays, too, it hasn't really ended, but back then it was more front and center. And it's a quest. It becomes this very complex narrative of yeah, this is where I should probably shut up before I start spoiling things. But that's kind of the foundation that the movie is using to have so much commentary on the generational trauma of racism, the power of music to be a voice for these communities that have been historically oppressed, and just some really phenomenal filmmaking. Ryan Coogler rules. This movie is very good. And you mentioned earlier that K-pop Demon Hunters is like Sony's biggest dropped ball in a while. Were you aware that this movie, Sinners, might be Marvel Studios' biggest drop ball in a while?
I don't know how Marvel is specifically. I know that Ryan Coogler did Black Panther, like you mentioned, but I do know that there was something to do with like there were a lot of theories that seemed pretty spot on that the major studios kind of wanted this movie to fucking fail because Ryan Coogler got like an incredible deal in terms of when the IP returns to his ownership. And they would very much like that to not become the standard.
That deal is true. I don't know how much that really got talked about. But the thing with this movie and Marvel is that a lot of the people that worked on this movie, Ryan Coogler as well, but like a lot of the production hands.
Oh, was this supposed to be a Blade movie?
Yeah, this was supposed to be Blade.
This was supposed to be the Blade. Oh, God. And that Blade movie still ain't fucking happened.
Yeah. A lot of the costumes and sets that were used in this movie were made for a Blade movie that has been scrapped.
Oh.
Like whatever the Blade movie ends up being, it's no longer going to be this.
If it ends up being anything. At this point.
This movie obviously was never this isn't exactly what it was going to be, but like the Blade movie was supposed to take place in the 1930s. It was going to be directed by Ryan Coogler. I don't know. I don't think Ryan Coogler was going to direct it, but I think he was producing it. And a lot of like the crew, not the actors, but the crew that worked on Sinners were originally working on Blade and no longer are.
Man, when you think about that, you remember that Redfall's making a fucking, or is it Redfall? Redfall was the game. Who are the people that made that game? That Bethesda studio that made like Dishonored and shit. They're making a Blade game. Do you ever have the feeling that like Disney probably thought there was going to be a Blade movie that was going to make Blade like well known by the time that game came out?
I mean, there was. It released 20 years ago.
Yeah, but I get the distinct feeling they thought there was going to be a new Blade movie by now.
I don't know. If I'm being honest, I'm not even convinced that game's going to happen.
I'm also not fully convinced. I mean, it's a Microsoft-owned studio. That basically the odds aren't great.
But yeah, Sinners fucking rules. Holy shit, what a good fucking movie. I saw this in theaters 3 times. It was amazing. And I cannot recommend it enough. This movie fucking ruled. And that's what I got.
And that's the 5. Yeah, it was much shorter than last year.
Roughly half as long as last year, you might say.
That's good, at least. I think that went well. We're going to be back with regular episodes hopefully soon.
Mm-hmm.
My personal goal for the show that I'm going to push for and be really annoying about is I would like to be through Twilight Princess by the end of the year.
I've more or less given up on streaming, so that's probably not going to be that hard.
That is my general goal, is I would like to be through Twilight Princess by the end of 2026 and squarely in the Wii era by the time 2027 rolls around. And if we make it further, fuck yeah, awesome. I'll take that. But if we don't,
hoping.
That's as far as I fully expect us to get. More Fire Emblem will happen soon. Hopefully within the month would be my personal goal for the next part of Fire Emblem, but we will see how things shake out there. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Here's hoping. Look, I know this is hard to say right now. I get it. Like, we're 5 days into 2026 and it's already been a shit show. But I'm still going to try and hold out a little bit of hope that maybe this year will be a little bit better than last. That might be
saying that for 10 years.
That may be kind of foolish on my part. I get that. But I'm going to choose to be, for once in my stupid life, a little bit more on the optimistic side. So I hope everyone at least had a pretty alright holidays. I hope you're staying safe, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. We're not going anywhere. And with that, my name is Joe.
My name is Melanie.
We will see you again for more Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Bye, guys.